Basically, this video was meant to be one, but now I broke it up into two, so I gotta do a little bit of setup beforehand. But pretty much, the last video is about my top 10 collectibles that stand alone, and this is all about completed sets. So the first set that I'll talk about is the Ultraman set. And my reasoning for this set in particular is probably gonna be a little bit different than the majority of people, and that's because, as some of you may know if you've been watching me, is that Ultraman was the first ever set I ever started on Veve. So just for that reason alone, I am never selling, because Veve has changed my life in a million different ways, and that is just a symbol of my origin story on Veve. So for that reason, I'm not selling it. But if you take that aside, because you know, if you're watching this and it wasn't your first drop, then you don't care about that. So another reason to consider holding it long term is that Ultraman originated from Asia, Japan if I'm not mistaken, which means that he's just not that popular here. I know before Veve, I'd never heard Ultraman once in my life. So with the news of China making NFTs legal, separating them from cryptocurrency, I think that when/if the Asian market gets into Veve or just NFTs in general, I could see Ultraman, especially first appearance Ultraman, the first ever set of Ultraman, just doing numbers, and they could flood the market. The next set that I'm holding long term is the first edition stamps from the United States Postal Service. So the reasons that this is a long-term hold for me is that it's the first ever drop from the United States Postal Service, the first ever government agency drop on Veve, and it's also first edition, so we got all those first right there just off the bat. And then when you also consider that stamps are one of, if not the most collectible item in the whole world, then you can start to let your imagination run wild as to the potential of the first edition of these stamps. So once the hardcore stamp collectors really get fully immersed into the digital world, I could see something like the first ever stamps being a extremely valuable piece. And next we got the Captain America Marvel Mighty series. And the reason I say this is because it's the first ever Mighty Marvel set. Everyone in it is a first appearance. It features the first appearance of Steve Rogers. And I always say this, but just with how many first appearances they are giving to these Marvel Mighties, I think it's for a reason. I think they're gonna do something with it. So I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna see what they end up doing with these Marvel Mighties, if anything. And even if they don't do anything cool, they're still first appearance. And I think that because they're how they are in the Mighty form, I think that they are extremely undervalued. Like if the premium digital statue of Captain America was the first appearance, I think that its value would be even higher than it is. But whether people like how it looks or not, everyone in that whole set is a first appearance, and it's the first ever Marvel Mighties. So I could see that being worth something. Even though part of the reason for its price being relatively low is that it has a lot more editions than almost any other collectible on the app. The next set that I'm holding long term is one that I don't hear talked about hardly ever. This has gotten such little attention, but it is the Ultraman 2D poster set. And so like I said, Ultraman was my first ever drop on Veve, not the posters, but Ultraman in general. And so I made sure to get this set. And I was actually one of the people who got awarded the secret rare for free because they took more gems than they said they were, something like that. So I got compensated with the secret rare poster, and that's what led me to being able to finish the set more easily. But also keep in mind, and I'm gonna highlight this in a video later on, so I don't want to give away too much, but these are the first ever 2D posters that ever dropped on Veve. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want this to get too much attention. But if you're paying attention, now you know. And the last set that I am holding long term, I saved the best for last, guys. This is one that I'm gonna be passing down to my kids and to my grandkids, and I hope that they don't ever sell this after I pass, or unless they really need it, because this is one that I'm so proud to be owning, and I really cannot believe that it's something that I have. And that is the entire Disney Golden Moments collection. I could see this being one of the most prestigious sets to hold, maybe in all of NFTs. Maybe some sets that come out later on will have a lot fewer edition sizes, and maybe that will be more prestigious, that'd be more rare to hold. But I think the entire set of the first ever Disney NFT collection, it just really, I still can't fully process it in my head how significant that is. And the fact that I was able to land Walt on the drop 9 minutes after it came out on the third rebound that I saw is just, it feels like a dream a lot of the time. And so I am not going to squander this opportunity to be holding the whole set. I probably wouldn't have been able to finish it if I didn't get Walt on the drop. So I just feel so thankful. And this is a set that I see being my most valuable and one that I will never ever sell, because this is the prime example of if you sell, there's a very good chance that you will never ever be able to get this one back. I got one more set for you guys. There was one that slipped through the cracks. I recorded this video before the latest Disney drop came out, which is first edition Mickey Mouse and Friends Lenticular cards. So I had to throw it in here. Everyone knows how massive Disney is, first edition, but not only that, if you look up the highest grossing media franchises, Mickey Mouse and Friends comes in at number 3 with $82.9 billion in total revenue, being beat out only by Hello Kitty and none other than Pokemon. Let me know what you're holding long term down in the comments below, and I'll leave it at that, guys. As always, this has been NFT Flenny. I'll catch you guys next time.